How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. With 22-year-old Trey Young and his Atlanta Hawks in the conference finals, this season has been an absolute success for the franchise. Going forward, Trey Young will be amongst one of the best superstars to look out for over the next decade or so. Being one of the breakout players in the 2021 playoffs is an absolute travesty. Trey Young got snubbed in the 2021 All-Star game by the Sixers, betting who can't freaking shoot the ball Simmons. It's pathetic. The Sixers should still be ashamed of themselves. While the Atlanta Hawks deserve all the praise in the world, beating the number 1 seed, today we're going to take a look at 13 of the most surprising teams that made it to the conference finals, evaluating how tough their competition was in the first 2 rounds and where they finished in the regular season, how they got to the conference finals.
Starting off with number 13, the 2019 Portland Trail Blazers, the 3 seed in the tough West. Dame Lillard balled out and proved himself after being humiliated by the Pelicans the previous year. Portland thought about breaking things up, but stuck with the backcourt wasn't viewed as any threat in the West. OKC struggled late in the regular season, but PG and Russ considered the better team, the favorites to beat Portland in round 1. Role players Dennis Schroeder, Jeremy Grant, Steven Adams against Kanter, Mo Harkless, and Al Farouq Aminu. Lillard went bananas, averaged 33 for the series, outshining Paul George. CJ outplayed Ross. Westbrook went just 5 of 21 game 4. The 5th game looked like OKC was gonna win. Dame Lillard drained the insane game winner to end the OKC Westbrook Paul George era. A 50-point masterful closeout. These Thunder were supposed to challenge Golden State in the conference finals, but didn't even come close. While the 2nd seed Nuggets, little inexperience, beat the Spurs in round 1 and 7, considered the slight favorites over the Blazers. Jokic and Murray each balled out. Joker put up 27, 14, and 8. Murray over 23, 6, and 5. It was CJ's turn to dominate the series. Averaged 26.5 points. Lillard just 25 a game. The 3rd game went to 4 overtimes. A classic win by the Blazers. Rodney Hood's 19-point heroics. McCollum bailed out Lillard's 3 of 17 shooting game 7. Had 37 of his own. Murray for Denver just 4 of 18. Lillard's first ever Western Conference Finals trip, but got dominated and swept by the Durant-less Warriors, the farthest Dame went as a Blazer. Number 12, the 1990 Phoenix Suns, the 5th seed, 54 wins, had to face the 55-win Karl Malone and John Stockton's Jazz, led by Kevin Johnson, Tom Chambers, Jeff Hornacek, Dan Marley. KJ drained the go-ahead game winner to close out the first round series 3-2 in Utah. Next up, a tall task, the 3-time defending Western Conference champs Lakers, Magic Johnson the MVP, 63 wins. LA looking for another finals appearance. A shocking result, KJ averaged 22 points, 11 assists, 3 steals for the series. Chambers nearly 22 a game, and Jeff Hornacek 21. Head coach Cotton Fitzsimmons 0-37 against the Lakers at the Western Forum. Before this matchup, Suns lost 21 straight in LA dating back to 84, down 6 heading into the 4th. Mark West 24, 16 rebounds, 7 blocks, stole game 1. LA also didn't lose before the conference finals since 1981. Phoenix winning this series in game 5 on the road. KJ dropped 37. The team would go on to lose to Portland the next round in 6. Number 11, the 1995 Houston Rockets. Although they had the best player in the game, the team won just 47 games. Added Clyde Drexler, way better than every team on this list obviously, but given their competition, having to play the 3 seed led by Malone and Stockton's 60-win Jazz, Utah the favorites in the series. Since they never reached the finals, was hungry. Dream was superior to Karl Malone and won Game 5 in Salt Lake City, then went on to play the 2nd seed 59-win Phoenix Suns, the best version of Kevin Johnson, superstar Charles Barkley, AC Green, Wesley Person, Danny Ainge, and Dan Marley. Suns quickly went up 2-0 and 3-1, had a chance to close out Game 5, but Wesley Person shot off the mark only to fall to Houston, and a Mario Elie dagger in Game 7 to pull off the upset. Many did not give the Rockets a chance to repeat en route to back-to-back titles, by far the toughest competition any NBA champion had to face the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and it's not even close. These first 2 series could have been a conference finals preview, given the superstars both teams had. Looking at the 2 stars, no doubt this Rockets team was championship material, but the level of difficulty faced, it would not have been surprising if these Rockets could have lost round 1. The next 2 rounds, Hakeem faced the Spurs' David Robinson and Orlando Shaquille O'Neal, 62 and 57 wins. I didn't factor these 2 series on this list, but nonetheless, if you want to find out if the 95 Rockets had the toughest championship earned, just click on the link above if you want to know the truth. Number 10, the 2018 Boston Celtics. No Kyrie, no Gordon Hayward, missed 2 of their best players. This team matchup against the 7-seeded Bucks was a toss-up. Many thought Milwaukee could have beaten them. Giannis officially recognized as superstar, having Chris Middleton, Malcolm Brogdon, Eric Bledsoe, and Jabari Parker versus Al Horford, second-year Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, rookie Jason Tatum, Marcus Morris, and Aaron Baines. The C's with home court advantage won the series. A big reason why, Scary Terry made Eric Bledsoe shook. Absolutely got the best of that matchup. The second round against Simmons and Embiid Sixers, 52 wins in the regular season. Ben had a great first round against the Heat, the heavy favorites before the series. People were debating whether the Rookie of the Year was already a top 10 player, but Simmons got absolutely exposed and didn't even play better than Terry Rozier. Game 2, Simmons classic 0 of 4, just 1 point, no field goals, complete non-factor. Sixers would have likely won if TJ McConnell stayed in the game. Game 3, another Sixer meltdown. Jason Tatum outplayed Simmons in the series, poured in 24. Al Horford did solid on Embiid, had a go-ahead game winner. Brad Stevens outcoached Brett Brown. Philly fell in Game 5 by 2 points, couldn't execute down the stretch, putting the C's. Boston having Tatum, Horford, second-year JB, and Kyrie's backup Terry Rozier 1 game away from the finals, just only to fall short to LeBron's Cavs. Although this Cleveland team wasn't great outside of James, they were still the favorites before the series to beat Boston, led by an epic James performance. It was shocking to see the C's go this far without Kyrie and Hayward. Many thought the conference finals was going to be Philly-Toronto, but they were wrong. Number 9, the 2007 Utah Jazz. A loaded West, the 3 possible teams to win a title that season, Dallas, Phoenix, and San Antonio, no other exceptions. Anybody else would have been shocking. None of the teams in the weak East was considered. Utah-Houston ended up in a 4-5 matchup. Second-year sensation point guard Darren Williams, a 16.9 assist guy. Carlos Boozer, 21 and 12 at the height of his powers. Big Mehmet Okur, the lone all-star for the Jazz that season, averaged nearly 18 and 7. Andre Kirilenko, Derek Fisher, and Matt Harpring, good role players, went up against Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming, and Shane Battier's Rockets. Utah better role players, but the Rockets had the 2 best in Yao and T-Mac. Each team protected the home floor the first 6 games. Everybody expected McGrady to finally get out the first round, had 29 and 13 assists Game 7, Yao also 29, but the role players didn't produce well enough. Boozer's 35 and 14, Williams' 20 and 14 dimes propelled the Jazz to victory in Game 7. Because Dallas got heavily upsetted by Golden State round 1, the Jazz became the favorite in the semis, a series defined by big versus small. Boozer, Okur, and Kirilenko, 2 tall down low, dominated Golden State on the glass 54-34. D. Wild held his own against prime Baron Davis. Boozer and Okur, too much of a frontline hassle for Al Harrington, Matt Barnes, and Steven Jackson. Game 1 and 2 down to the wire. The second game dedicated to Derek Fisher. After his daughter got emergency eye surgery, his status became uncertain, had to arrive in a helicopter the 3rd quarter of the game. Didn't play or warm up, went on to sink the dagger in overtime, his one and only shot that game. Utah would go on to beat the We Believe team in 5, advancing all the way to the conference finals, but wasn't given much of a chance, fell to the eventual champion Spurs in 5 games. A fantastic season nonetheless. Number 8, the 1989 Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan came off winning his first series the previous year. The 88 team won 50 games, while the 89 team a little worse in the regular season. Chicago wasn't expected to go far. One of the most underappreciated runs all time that got swept under the rug. The Bulls were the 6th seed. Scottie Pippen in year 2, a 14 and 6 guy, wasn't close to an all-star yet. Horace Grant 12 and 9, Bill Cartwright 12 and 7, Sam Vincent and John Paxson the other role players. Jordan averaged 32.5 points, 8 and 8, 3 steals, 54% shooting. A rematch of last season's first round matchup. This time the Cavs won 57 games, the 3 seed, way better overall team than the Bulls. Cleveland the clear favorites with Mark Price, Ron Harper, Larry Nance, Hot Rod Williams, and Craig Elo. This Cleveland team not only had conference finals aspirations, but were supposed to meet the bad boy Pistons. Jordan absolutely dominated. After splitting the first two, MJ dropped 44 in Game 3, 50 points in the Game 4 loss, but saved his best for last, drained the shot at the buzzer, the go-ahead game winner to clinch the series. An iconic moment, had 44 in the closer. For the series, MJ averaged nearly 40 points a game, over 8 assists, shot 52% from the field, Pippen 15 a game, a matchup the Bulls weren't even supposed to win, while Patrick Ewing's Knicks, led by coach Rick Pitino, eliminated Barkley's Sixers, a substantial favorite over the Bulls, the first ever time Jordan faced New York in the postseason. Wasted no time giving the Knicks a taste of their own medicine, took a commanding 3-1 series lead before closing out with a 40-piece 10-dime 4 blocks Game 6. For the series, MJ averaged almost 36 points, 9.5 rebounds, over 8 assists, 2.5 steals, 1.5 blocks, 55% shooting. The role players of Johnny Newman, Mark Jackson, Gerald Wilkins, Trent Tucker, Charles Oakley, and Kiki Vandeweghe, a deeper team than the Bulls. Chicago's run ended falling to the 63-win Pistons in 6, the only team to beat the Bad Boys all 89 playoffs. Nobody outside of Jordan averaged over 12 for that series. These Pistons also have a case, being a top 5 team all time, a stepping stone season for Jordan and the Bulls. Number 7, the 2020 Denver Nuggets. Bubble Murray and Jokic made their presence felt all year. The chat was the Battle of LA, but the pandemic happened, which led to the troubled Lou Williams, who went to Magic City only to play like Tragic Pity. Playoff P became Pandemic P. Patrick Beverley got cooked by Jamal Murray, sent to the bench in a hurry. Montrezl Harrell's value diminished heavily. But credit to Paul George, the Clippers bounced back in a big way in 2021, making the franchise's first ever conference finals. The 3-seeded Nuggets came back down 3-1 to Utah round 1, a series they could have easily been swept, and a Mike Conley shot away from getting bounced. Murray averaged 31.5 points, Jokic over 26, became one of the most unstoppable duels. Nobody gave the Nuggets a shot against the Clips, especially after stealing games 3 and 4 on the road. The fascination between the Clippers-Lakers matchup, so close becoming a reality. Both teams were up 3-1. It was whether if the Clippers would advance first to get a little more rest, but then Doc Rivers, the king of 3-1 shivers, happened. Up double digits, game 5, 6, and 7. Leonard and George both balled out in the 5th game, finished a combined 72 points, but Lou Will, horrendous 4 points, 2 of 10 shooting. Denver scored 38 in the 4th. Game 6, LA up 73-55 in the 3rd, got outscored 64-35 the 2nd half. Jokic absolutely destroyed, abused, annihilated, and humiliated Montrezl Harrell in every way imaginable. Offensively, in my opinion, one of the reasons why the Clippers got rid of Doc Rivers, who continued to put Harrell on Jokic instead of going back to Zubac, didn't even take a chance on Joakim Noah. Rivers failed to adjust, also subbed out Beverly late game 5, only for Lou Will to brick an open 3, while MPJ drained the dagger, seeing Williams on him, failed rotations by Doc. Jokic and Murray absolutely dominated. Harrell averaged just 2.6 rebounds for the series. Denver went on to the conference finals, only to fall to LeBron and AD's Lakers. Nevertheless, a successful bubble for the Nuggets. Number 6, the 1999 New York Knicks, the only 8th seed to get to the finals. The lockout year, late January, the team traded Terry Cummings, Chris Mills, and John Starks for Golden State's Latrell Sprewell, also added third-year center Marcus Camby for Sean Marks and Charles Oakley. A 50-game season, small sample size, 27 and 23 overall, only 2 games behind the 5th seed. In reality, the Knicks were not a typical 8th seed in an 82-game season, still had Patrick Ewing for round 1 versus Miami, but the Heat weren't the heavy favorites. Allen Houston's game winner in game 5 to seal the series gave the team hope in going all the way. Knicks Hawks could have went either way in the semis. Mookie Blaylock, Steve Smith, and Dikembe Mutombo. The duo of Sprewell and Houston got the best of the ATL, a 4-game sweep, because these Knicks were only 6 games behind the 1 seed. Beating the Pacers and making the finals made it more impressive, but I can't rank this New York team higher since they were very likely to make the conference finals after beating Miami. Number 5, the 2021 Atlanta Hawks. 22-year-old Trey Young, absolutely sensational. The team went 14-20 before firing Lloyd Pierce, added Nate McMillan, became one of the hottest teams, going 35-15. Nobody would have been shocked if Atlanta didn't make the playoffs after a horrendous start. Finished 41-31, the 5th seed against New York, one of the toughest defensive teams. Many believed the next series would go 7. 15 of the 18 ESPN so-called experts had the Knicks Knicks winning it, but Atlanta absolutely proved to be the way better team. Knicks struggle offensively. Young's 29.10 assist average proved by far to be the best player in the series. In the Philly matchup, the #1 seed, only 2 of the 16 ESPN's panel picked the Hawks over Philly, while Embiid played with a torn half meniscus, still played all 7 games and balled out. Credit to Trey Young's 29.11 assist numbers, John Collins 15 and 10, Gallo 15, Bogdanovic and Kevin Huerter each 13. Atlanta deserved credit, but overlooked by the flat-out pathetic, scared, bent, allergic to shooting the ball Simmons. Shot 33% from the line, averaged under 10 points for the series, melted under pressure. Sixers up 18, blew game 4. Atlanta supposed to be down 3-1, but a 26 comeback in Philly stole game 5 despite Simmons' liabilities. Many believe the Sixers would still be too much to overcome the less talented Hawks team. Before the season started, nobody could have predicted Atlanta going to the conference finals. A successful year, bright future for Trey Young. Number 4, the 1984 Phoenix Suns, the 6th seed at 41 and 41. Much different than the 1990 team. Walter Davis, Maurice Lucas, James Edwards, Larry Nance, and Paul Westphal. A season hampered by injuries, won 53 games the previous season, but the franchise had many playoff disappointments. One of the biggest gambles, trading away all-star point guard Dennis Johnson, which made absolutely no sense. The franchise needed size. Roby ended up being injury prone and barely played in the NBA, while Alvin Adams struggled and declined, averaged under double figures. Many lineup changes, one of the weirdest seasons in franchise history. Team had a 31 and 10 home record, but 10 and 31 on the road. Went up against Portland's Jim Paxson, Calvin Nat, Michael Thompson, and rookie Clyde Drexler, a 3-2 series upset. Next up, Adrian Daly's Jazz. Walter Davis carried the team in the semis. Many thought after the Johnson trade, this Suns team was gonna miss the playoffs entirely, let alone win 2 playoff series. Of course, they were no match against Showtime, but still took them to 6 towards the end of the regular season. The team 35 and 41 overall. If they didn't win all those 6 games and would have ended up the 8th seed, the matchup with Showtime would have been in round 1. Ended up 6-0, their longest win streak of the year, leading to 10 postseason wins, a heavy overachievement nobody could have saw. Number 3, the 1987 Seattle Supersonics, 7th seed, 39 and 43 in the regular season. Most teams going below 500 wouldn't make the playoffs in most years. The legendary Red Auerbach predicted the Sonics would finish last in the NBA.
The most disappointing team in the NBA will be?
The most disappointing team? Well, I think it might be Seattle. I think it would surprise me if they don't finish anything but last.
According to B-Ball Reference, the Sonics were indeed dead last in the preseason title odds. Yes, that's correct. A plus 20,000 to win it all. Called the Cinderella Sonics, went up against the 2-seeded 55-win Mavs in round 1 after giving up 151 points in game 1. Hard-nosed and resilient, won game 2 with a 2-point nail-biter, led by the sensational Dale Ellis, averaged 29.5 points, 8 rebounds. Tom Chambers 24.5, Xavier McDaniel 23.9, outplaying Rolando Blackman, Mark Acquire, Sam Perkins, and Derek Harper, a surprising 3-1 win. Next up, the defending Western Conference champs, the tall twin towers of Hakeem and Ralph Sampson. Seattle stole the first 2 on the road, a 5-2-point win. Dale Ellis super hot, 34 and 30 points each. While the Rockets took game 3, Seattle made the series 3-1. For game 6 at home, one of the best playoff games all time, a double OT classic where Chambers and Ellis 37 and 36 apiece, overshadowed by Hakeem's 49.25 rebound, 6 block game. Dream had one of the best performances in the playoff loss, absolute shocker. Fun fact, 22-year-old rookie Nate McMillan was on this team. He certainly knows a thing or two about going far in the playoffs as a heavy underdog. Finished 7 in assists his first year, averaged 8.2 dimes a game, although Seattle got swept by the 65-win Lakers, who went on to win the title. A 65-win team going up against a 39-win squad in the conference finals, we might never see that happen again. Exceeding everyone's expectations, Dale Ellis was named Most Improved Player, Tom Chambers won All-Star Game MVP in his hometown. The first season without Jack Sigma, Ellis and Chambers weren't good defensively defenders, but got super hot and outshot everybody in the playoffs. An unforgettable, memorable run for longtime passionate Sonics fans. Number 2 and number 1, both from the same conference finals, because they were the last two teams remaining in the postseason in the West. The 5th and 6th seed, Kansas City Kings and Houston Rockets. There was no 7 or 8 seed in the playoffs back then. Both finished 40 and 42 overall. The last two teams meeting in the conference finals. Can you believe that? Imagine a 7 and 8 seed both making round 3. Unless both teams had superstar injuries for most of the year, we might never see that happen. While Kansas City had Otis Birdsong, Chris Wenman, and Phil Ford, starting with the Kings, matchup with the 4-seeded Blazers won 45 games, led by Billy Rates Bay and Michael Thompson. A 2-1 series win for the underdogs, best out of 3, followed by upsetting the number 1 seeded Phoenix Suns, led by Dennis Johnson, Walter Davis, Alvin Adams, and Truck Robinson. A 57-win squad, one of the greatest second-round upsets all time. This Kings team had to beat Dallas to edge Golden State for the final playoff spot the last day of the regular season. After getting smoked by 22 in Game 1, responded by winning the next 3. While Phil Ford missed the entire series with injury, Birdsong only played 2 games with his injuries. The brilliance of Reggie King, Wenman, and Ernie Grunfeld, the starting small forward, played point guard. After Phoenix won 5 and 6, the Kings went on to win Game 7 on the road, while the Rockets, on the other hand, led by superstar 25-year-old Moses Malone, a 28 and 15 beast, Robert Reed, Calvin Murphy, knocked out the defending champion Lakers in round 1. Malone got the best of Kareem. Mike Dunleavy drained the mid-range jumper late Game 3, putting Houston up 87-86 with 15 ticks left. The third and final game viewed like a Game 7. Magic missed a leaner the following possession. Jamal Wills missed the 3 to tie an insane upset. Many believed the Lakers would easily sweep Houston, but Magic Johnson was an absolute travesty in Game 3. One of his lowest playoff moments, went 2 of 14 from the field, only 1 of 2 times in Magic's career. His group did not make a conference finals. Excluding the 96 comeback, Moses went on to face the 2nd-seeded Spurs led by George Gervin. The 52-win team, Houston stole Game 1 with their slow-paced style. Series tied at 2. Malone dropped 34 in a pivotal Game 5, won 123-117. Game 7 down to the wire. Calvin Murphy, his best playoff game when inserted in the starting lineup, got hot, dropped 42 in the closer. Malone averaged 28 for the series over Gervin's 27. As a result, the Rockets beat the Kings in 5 games. Birdsong played just 3 games, ineffective in the conference finals. Phil Ford limited as well. Moses also got the best of Reggie King, rooting Kansas City Cinderella dreams. The Rockets, however, were outmatched by the 62-win Celtics in the finals. Low scoring, Malone hounded by Parrish. Despite winning 2 games, still mind-blowing 40 years later, 2 teams below 500 in the same conference met up in the conference finals. A weird combination of having a 3-game opening first-round series, which is why number 2 and number 1 on this list, the Kansas City Kings and the Houston Rockets 1981, went hand in hand.
Honorable mentions includes the 2020 Miami Heat and the 2013 Memphis Grizzlies. While the 2020 Heat, they played the Pacers in the first round, Indy wasn't all that great. After all, while they beat the Milwaukee Bucks, Miami realistically had a perfect matchup for those Bucks, and Milwaukee, Giannis couldn't really do much in the 2020 bubble, while 2021 has been a different story so far for Milwaukee. While the 2013 Grizzlies played the Clippers in the first round and beat them, also beat OKC while Russell Westbrook was injured, so it was not that surprising that they made it to the conference finals, losing to San Antonio. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you love NBA basketball, subscribe for more content, more good stuff coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.